Hi, welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I am doing a YouTube hop with Karen Day that she has called Going Green, and we are going to do our own interpretation of this theme. So I have already done a pretty decent job with St. Patrick's Day. I posted Lucky layout a couple of weeks ago, and so I'm going to do something a little differently with this layout. So I asked my husband, who is deployed, to send me a photo of him in his uniform. And the reason for that is because the first thing I thought of when I saw Going Green is the term that my husband has been using quite frequently called green suiters. And he is active duty military, wearing that uniform, and he is a green suitor. So this is going to be titled Green Suitor, My Soldier, My Hero, and I'm going to be using this Pink Fresh Studio Simply the Best collection to scrapbook this photo and to tell this story. So I'm going to stop here and I'm going to fast forward and let's get started. So I'm also going to bring in some mixed media. I discovered that I had this watercolor palette a couple days ago and hadn't used it yet. I used it on my Mix It Up Monday layout that I posted on Monday the 13th, and I'm going to go ahead and use it for this layout as well. It is just a beautiful, beautiful watercolor palette. I think I only paid $3.99 for it at Tuesday Morning. So if you see one, you should probably grab it. The watercolors really remind me of the Shimmers paints, which are a little bit pricey, and I've been trying to avoid purchasing all of their colors, but this has quite a bit of the same type of coloring. So I'm going to be using this Pink Fresh Studio Simply the Best collection. I have been kind of hoarding this since I purchased it when it came out. I pre-ordered this set, so I've had it since it came out, and I have just been kind of waiting to use it until I found something, you know, quote unquote perfect to risk cutting into this beautiful paper. Pink Fresh Studio is one of my favorite companies to buy paper from right now. They took the place of My Mind's Eye when My Mind's Eye quit producing collections for scrapbookers. So I love the weight of their paper. I love the designs of their paper. I love their floral ephemera. I love their layering stencils, dies, and stamp sets. I'm just in love in general. So this particular piece of paper, what I have in my mind is I'm going to cut out some of these squares, and I'm going to kind of make a funky little mat for my photo with this. So I also know I wanted to bring in some of the tags from this piece of the pattern paper. I am going to be cutting off some of the little partial tags to use as well, because I am going to surround my photo with tags, and I don't necessarily need a whole tag to do that. So I'm going to bring in several of the partial ones just so that I can use those up as well and not waste any of the larger tags, which I may want to use on another layout in full. So it's time to start putting this layout together. I have stitched that blue background piece off camera and scuffed up the edges. I also cut about a 1.5 inch strip of pattern paper from the plaid, and I scuffed up the edges of it as well. I'm going to go ahead and adhere it to my dried black background, and I am going to lay down my funky background piece to get an idea of where it's going to end up on that plaid piece, and then I'm going to poke some holes and do some hand stitching as a border down the left hand side of that layout. So I am not going to make you watch me hand stitch the full length of this layout. I will stop the video after stitching maybe 5 or 6 holes, and then I will finish it off camera. Alright, I have finished stitching that left hand side, and now I'm just going to start adhering my funky little mat piece. I don't know why I keep calling it my funky little mat piece, but it's not your typical mat, so it's kind of funky. I'm using some double-sided tape to adhere it to my layout. I'm kind of experimenting to see if it will hold the stitches down, because the ATG doesn't do as good of a job with that. I usually use liquid glue when I have put a hand-stitched element down onto my background, so I'm just kind of seeing if it will hold, and it does really well, so that made me kind of happy. I matted my photo with a piece of the tag paper in a place where it didn't interfere with some tags that I knew that I wanted to use, and it brings in that other funky green color that is in this collection, which helps bring out the greens in the plaid. And now I'm just going to play with these tag pieces and see if I can figure out how I want them to end up on my layout. I think they get moved around quite a bit. And you just saw I had to tear the ends off one of them. I think I have to do that with a couple of them because they won't go underneath like I intended without ripping them. And that's okay, because I don't want the whole tag to show out. If I do that, I'll cover up all that pretty mixed media I put down on the right hand side. So at this point, I think I like where I've placed my tags, and I'm going to use my quick dry glue to adhere them to the page. And I'm going to start adding some other elements to the page now. Now this little journaling block is not from Simply the Best. It is from The Best Day. It was hanging out in my Pink Fresh Studio ephemera box. Yes, I have a box of ephemera for Pink Fresh Studios. Yeah, we won't talk about that. It's full. It is so full it won't close. Anyway, but I'm going to use it here for my journaling. My journaling will not be visible in this video or in the close-ups at the end of the video, because it is going to be private journaling that I don't want everybody to see. It's going to give locations and dates and stuff, and that is private information. I pulled in that piece of chipboard that says today's stories, and of course that will go along with the journaling that I'm going to put there. My title initially was going to say Green Suitor, My Soldier, My Hero, and I ended up not having enough space to do that, and that's okay, because I like what I ended up with. I did put Green Suitor and then a phrase and hero on it, and that still conveys what my intent was with this layout. I also decided I wanted to bring in one of the chipboard frames, and so I'm loosening up my photo and adding that frame that says legendary on the back. Now, of course, I'm really partial to this soldier because he's mine, and so I think he's legendary. I think he's a hero, and you know, to be honest, I just love him to death. I know you probably get tired of hearing me gush about my husband on camera, but hey, I'm in love. What can I say? I'm pulling some other bits and pieces from the chipboard stickers to use. I like those little funky shapes. They're kind of a great alternative to enamel dots. And so I'm going to place some of these on a couple places on my layout just as accents and small detail pieces. So I also added that little cell phone sticker. You might think that's a weird thing to add, but the reason I added it is because that is how we communicate while he's gone. We both use our cell phones to talk to one another. Sometimes we do it just with FaceTime, and sometimes it's just a call, but that cell phone is a big part of our life right now with him gone. So here's where I realized that my hero, my soldier, is not going to fit on this layout without covering up my mixed media. So I add in that phrase sticker that says greatest of all time and then hero, and I used all lowercase letters for that intentionally. So I just showed you a little tiny jar of buttons. Those are the tiniest buttons I have ever seen, and I've had them for a very, very long time, and I decided instead of using twine on the tags like I have been doing, that I would use these tiny buttons. I'm going to adhere them with glue dots. I have two sizes of glue dots sitting on my space. I have the little tiny ones and I have the regular sized ones. So I use those to adhere the buttons. They hold really well. And now I'm going to add some splatters to my layout. So I'm going to use my Delusions white linen spray to put some white splatters on. Plus I'm going to use a sparkly green from Heidi's Swap to put splatters onto this layout. Focusing the white splatters on the patterned paper and tags so that they will show up. The green, I'm going to focus more on the white background. I think I get some on the pattern papers as well, but most of my focus is to make sure that I get that on the white background. I want to thank Karen Day for inviting me to this YouTube hop to participate. I hope that she is okay with my take on going green for this layout. Make sure that you check my description box below. I'll have some other creators linked below that are participating in this hop. And thank you for stopping by my channel. If you liked this video, please click the like button. If you're not a subscriber, I would love to have you subscribe. I do answer comments and questions about my layouts and techniques used in the comments if you ask, so go ahead and ask. Have a great day and happy St. Patrick's Day. Bye.